Hey people, Inquisitor here, 3v3 Faction War. This is Arena of Ashes and Imperial Guard versus Eldar Game 1. For the Eldar team first, we have two Warlocks. We have Adila and we also have Mathis. These guys are offensive melee commanders that can leap into combat, fight in melee combat, awesome disruption and mobility, and they can tank pretty well too. Rounding off this blue Eldar team is Topi as a Farseer support commander that fights in melee combat. Lots of great buffs with some debuffs and control abilities too. Red team, for the Imperial Guard, we have two Lord Generals. First up is founder and lead designer of Elite Mod, it's Caeltos. And we also have Torpid. These guys are support commanders that fight in range combat, begin with a retinue, great at giving you defense and that field presence. And rounding off this red Imperial Guard team is Inquisitor Yarrick. Sebasticus plays a Commissar Lord, good offense and support. Fights in melee combat, begins with a refractor field. This is the Steel Legion elite scheme, but it's all kicking off over the contested VP. Warlock being shot to pieces, but is able to cap. Thought about throwing out his Destructor there, I think. Is a Sentinel for Torpid, and there's also one for Yarrick. No Banshees on the field, as you can see. Scared of the Sentinel stomp, I think. Yarrick using the execute on the Guardian to force off those Dire Avengers. So, Imperial Guard versus Eldar. What do we expect to see? Well, what I would get, and I think I mentioned this the last time these two factions fought each other, is that I would not get a Baneblade unless you're really far ahead and the Eldar armies are not great. I would not get a Baneblade because of Eldritch and Wraith Guard and D cannons. They could just go down so quickly, not to mention haywire grenades, of course. So I'd probably stick to a heavy tier 2 with Manticores. Manticores can really shred the fragile Eldar infantry and vehicles. And in Eldar's case, lots of Wraith Guard and D cannons all the way. 495, 463, 2-to-1 cap for the red Imperial Guard team. Caeltos capping up the top here. He's got this contested power with a node on it, and he's pushing the enemy's power. Already has that medical sergeant up, allows you to give out medical packs to allied infantry and commanders, but you can't give them to the Lord General himself. He can't actually use them. Here comes some Howling Banshees for Adila, so we do see some. He did not see any Sentinel from Caeltos, I suppose. Caeltos now getting a heavy weapon team, and you might see him. Yeah, he's going to run back, try and run back to that heavy weapon team and catch those Banshees unaware with a heavy bolter to their face. There's that medical pack going off on the Imperial Guard. What happens is you hand it out to a squad, and then it becomes an ability that that squad can use. And here is the heavy weapon team. Not quite close enough to shoot at the Banshees, but they will fire the heavy bolter at the Warlock, who eventually is persuaded to retreat. Meanwhile, bottom, it's turned red for the Imperial Guard. A shuriken cannon is up. Lots of shurikens, in fact. Adila has one, Mathis has one, Topi has two. So surely, in fact, Torpid already has spotters. So we'll see how they deal with them. Maybe Yarrick should get some as well, or some Catachans. He has a heavy weapon squad of his own, and he's pushing power with it. Sentinel taking shots, doesn't do a whole lot of damage with that multi-laser it uses, but it can take shots, and of course cannot bleed models, which makes it very, very annoying to fight. You pour tons and tons of fire in it, and it just walks away like that. 397, 463, Warlock getting too close to the Imperial Guard there. Artillery spotters getting a damage buff in the latest updates with their las guns, so they can fight a little bit better now, but that's generally not how you want to use them. Keep them out of harm's way and use their off-map mortar shell call-in and smoke shell call-in to really disrupt range lines, and that could totally screw up stuff like Wraith Guard in tier 2. Might need some auto drops to disrupt the Imperial Guard lines, and also use their jump to get into combat, of course. Double heavy weapon squads for Caeltos. Has to defend the power though. Looks like he's going to be able to. Adila's Banshees are going top. A grenade there we just saw. There's a heavy weapon squad doing its job. Warlock, is he going to get the Immolator to try and scare off these heavy weapons teams? The Warlock so dangerous early on to Imperial Guard with that Immolator and the Destructor combo. Rangers getting shot up, debuffed by the Basilisk Flare from the Commissar Lord. Such an annoying ability to try and fight around. Basically, it's usually better to just back away from it and wait until it wears off and then engage. 3, 4, 5, 4, 6, 3, 2-1 cap steal for the Imperial Guard. A really big grenade throw, but doesn't really hit anything apart from the Sentinel. There's an Immolator on the multi-last turret, so that's not going to last long. Down it goes. Grenade throw on a big blob of guardsmen, and they were suppressed just at the right time, so they couldn't move away. And down goes the Sentinel too. That was Torpid. Wow, a bad end to tier 1 for Torpid. Lost his spotters along the way also. 328, 463. And that Immolator doing work for Mathis so far. That damage over time it puts on the unit, as you can see, burns them. Top, what's going on? Banshees take down the node and we're trying to cap it, but now they've met a heavy weapon squad, which is not good news at all. As you can see, Adila at the moment running them without a aspect, since they start with 750 hit points now. It's not as critical as it was to get that aspect up quickly. Lord General doing his thing, forcing melee combat on stuff early on. Generally a really good way to use him. Has the Carapace armor as well in response to that Shuriken. I imagine Torpid also has it. No, he doesn't. Might get it in tier 2. We have 2 aspects up on Mathis's 3 Dire Avengers and aspects for 1 of Ser Topi's. Blue team are taking a contested VP, and now a heavy turret dropped in by Torpid. And remember that this thing has vehicle armor, so Mathis's Immolate is not going to do a whole lot to it. Neither is pretty much anything on the field right now for the Eldar. Bright Lance is on the way though for Mathis, and that will pretty quickly shoot down that turret, so I don't think it's going to last very long. There we go, look at the DPS from the Bright Lance. Not going to be able to repair it off. No way. 291, 463. The turret doesn't do a whole lot then, and is going to get dropped pretty quickly. Torpid now with some stormtroopers on the field. Assault kit on the way, increasing her range further. Can do a lot of damage really quickly with those hell guns. Really good burst on them. Warlock hanging back here for Mathis. Has that Psyker range attack. And there's the Immolate. Nasty, nasty stuff. Lord General happy to stand in it for a little while. Now he's backing away. 291, 463. Also see the medical sergeant there for Torpid. Top, meanwhile, Caeltos doing a good job holding. It looks like Adila's, he's more inclined to push the power rather than cap those contested points, and he has some Wraith Guard. So dangerous for Imperial Guard, and as you can see, Caeltos responds with Ogryns on the way. 291, 463. And now Adila is going to need to take a very good care of his Guardian weapon team. He needs to try and suppress those Ogryns. Caeltos can get close, of course, and make that irrelevant with his stand firm. Down goes that Sentinel. That was Yarrick's. Yarrick does have a Manticore though, and I think they need at least 2 of these things. 90 power though is a big dump of your power in tier 2. 291, 463.
The enemy is claiming a victory point.
Look at this, Caeltos pushing across the top and decapping blue team's natural. Meanwhile, Adila keeping the pressure up on this power, really trying to bash it. Doesn't want that power sitting there, helping out Imperial Guard. They are generally quite power heavy, especially if they start rolling out Manticores and they want to get tier 3 and stuff. Wraith Guard with those very, very scary Wraith Cannons, I think they're called. Really good damage to all targets, and they also suppress infantry. There is the stand firm, giving suppression immunity to these Ogryns, and look at them running in now, and down goes the Shuriken, which was actually just shot down there. Adila, I don't think, was paying attention to it. Maybe he thought he retreated it, but he didn't. Ogryns Can be pretty damn scary. Heavy melee damage and a big chunk of HP as well. They also have super heavy infantry armor, so they are very resistant to piercing damage and regular melee damage. They will take a lot of damage from those Banshees, though they need to be careful not to get caught by those ladies. Falcon on the field for Topi, providing in-field reinforcement for all of this Eldar stuff, and a Wraith Lord is up for Mathis. Does not have a ranged weapon on its shoulder yet. He might be waiting to see what Torpid and Yarrick get. They both have a Manticore now, and one good double Manticore strike could really wreck a lot of stuff, especially this Falcon. 265, 434. Wraith Lord moving in with that massive Ghostglaive sword. And it does have the shoulder-mounted Shuriken cannon now, and this does huge amounts of piercing damage. Not sure how accurate it is, though, especially on move. 265, 414. Banshees with the aspect of strength, fleeting in, but Ogryns are there to meet them. And there's the use your red, wash out and retreat. Yeah, that constant knockback from use your red is pretty dangerous for melee squads caught unawares. Look at this. Red team have the top power completely built up. Adila's going to need to try and take care of that. He's got a Falcon of his own on the way. And Yarrick with another heavy weapon squad. And he might be going... Oh, he's already got one autocannon. Might be going for double autocannons here. Will shred that Eldar infantry quite nicely. There's a Storm Eagle Manticore strike. Spiritual Rites is the ability which is used, and down goes the Farseer, caught by one of the Manticore rockets and then shot to pieces, and a Basilisk Flare for good measure to help Yarrick push there. What has he got? He's got Stubbornness and the Carapace armor, which buffs his, well, makes his execute better. Inspire Courage kind of buffs the Commissar himself when he uses it. 265, 372. Can he finish off the Shuriken? Yes, he can. Wow. Stuff dying bottom then. Good push for an Imperial Guard. They need to cap that VP quickly and bash that power quickly. They still have the power top. Warlock of Adila switching to the Witchblade of Kernus. That is in response to those Ogryns, I would imagine. Really good anti-melee weapon. 265, 358. He's put Distort Field on himself as well, or Distortion I think it's called. That's from his global bar, giving him that range resistance. Falcon prowling around, Banshees are there, they can reinforce off that Falcon of course. And Imperial Guard do take the bottom. Didn't bash the power though. They were kind of all milling around, right? They should have pushed the power immediately. Tier 3 for Caeltos and Torpid. I would have got at least another Manticore up before I went Tier 3. Tier 3 for Lehman Russes, or is it Tier 3 for Kasserkin? We will see. Eldar not wanting to push against that autocannon, I think. That's a pretty dangerous place for the Falcons, since it can be sometimes a bit of a pain to path around this stuff. 237, 358. What's going on top? Ogryns going after the Falcon, but it's a las cannon that gets the last shot. And Ogryns get away without a model loss. The Banshees were there. In fact, they do take a model on retreat. Can they get another? Yes, they can. That is the Banshee chase. They're going to turn around and decap that VP, I think. Wraith Guard on capping duty, but taking shots as they do so. 223, 358. Look at those Wraith cannons. That is painful. Medical pack went off there. These guys also buffed by Stand Firm, so they weren't getting suppressed by those Wraith Guard shots. 220, 358. Manticore pushing up really far. What is it doing? That might have been a mistake, and he turns it around immediately. 220, 356. That's a nice little blob there for the Manticore to shoot at. Maybe it's on cooldown. It can't use its rockets yet. 2-1 cap for the Eldar. They have both of the top points, and Banshees are going to finish off the Lord General. Are they? No, maybe not. They're chasing. One more shot and they do take him down eventually. In fact, it was the Warlock, I think. Yes. Finishes him off with a sync kill. Awesome. 220-338. Caeltos, in fact, all 3 Imperial Guard players already tier 3. And Adila, the last player to go. 220-332. Manticore Strike. Falcon lives with 5 hit points. Are you kidding me? That was pretty damn lucky. I think Yarrick had a couple of lucky escapes early on with his Sentinel as well. Though it did eventually go down anyway. Ogrin's on capping duty. Falcon getting his tier 3 energy field for Topi, which is an awesome upgrade for the Falcon. Makes it pretty damn annoying and difficult to force off. 220-319. Bit of a waste of an Inspired Courage there. I think it's better to use it just as you're about to start shooting. Otherwise that can happen. Warlock is level 3 for Mathis with the Immolator, and that's it. Farseer, Rune Armor. Not seen Psychic Storm used yet, but I'm sure he has, and it's an awesome ability. And Witchblade of Kurnus for the Warlock. Leaping into combat. Disruption all day long. 208-319. There is User Red though, but here is the Ethereal Slash. Look at the damage it did. That was one hit from the Ethereal Slash. It's not a power weapon though, I don't think, the Witchblade of Kurnus. Big mass of Imperial Guard pushing in from the south. 195-319. Wraith Guard got one really good volley off, but Ogrins were there to force them off, and now Adila's getting doubled pretty much. Eldar need to sort themselves out here. Has Mathis gone mid? No, he's back at base with everything. He's got an Avatar though on the way. Leman Russ on the way for Yarrick, and Caeltos already has one. He might have dropped this thing from the Lord General's Global Bar. Banshees coming out of that gate and going after it, so Caeltos probably knows there's a gate up here now. Kashyyyk on the field for Torpid. No upgrade for them yet. We might see grenade launchers to disrupt all this stuff. 169-319 is a 2-to-1 cap for Imperial Guard, and they're looking pretty good now. 2 Leman Russes on the field. Still have those 2 Manticores on decent infantry as well. Grenades flying in, all thrown on the same location though, so pretty easy to dodge there. Here goes the Leman Russ firing the battle cannon, getting the elite tank crew upgrade, increasing its weapon range, I think. Also gives it 100 more hit points. That is painful blob of lasguns. Sniper rifle buffing them all with fire on my target. 147-319. Here come Ogrins. Can he catch them with a grenade? 1 D cannon on the field for Topi. Adila going for Seer Council, and that's a pretty good choice, I think, because they will rip apart the Ogrins, and Ogrins losing a model immediately, having retreated there. Leman Russ taking shots from the Wraith Guard, but looks like it should be okay. Seer Council with power melee weapons, they can leap into combat, as you can see. Took down another Ogrin. They also grant a passive area of effect buff. It's a energy regen and suppression resistance, I think. So pretty damn useful. 122-319. Fire Prism on the way for Topi. I would go for D cannons instead, since Leman Russes will hunt down Fire Prisms pretty nicely if they can get in range, of course, and that is a big if. And since he is bottom, it's much easier to keep your Fire Prism at range there, so it might come really good for him. Big blob of infantry just waiting to get a singularity, I think. Where is the D cannon? It's coming bottom now. Meanwhile, top is being taken by Adila. 108-319. Here is the Avatar. And there's an Eldritch Storm to wipe out the las cannon. Well, it does so, but I think that's a bit of a waste. A good Manticore Strike, a really good Manticore Strike. Wow. Avatar leading the line, taking a lot of damage from plasma guns and stuff though. Wow. Falcon tanking damage like a boss with the energy field. Mathis was the one that was hit really badly by that Manticore, lost his setup team, but does get away with his triple Dire Avengers. Meanwhile, top Caeltos defending against the Seer Council, which is going to be pretty damn difficult. Where's his heavy weapon team? Oh, it has a las cannon, of course. Might need to get another heavy weapon team to try and combat this Seer Council. Guardsmen taking shots now. Lehman Russ backing away. Seer Council are persuaded to leave, but now there's a Wraith Guard squad to deal with, and they very nicely dodge the Basilisk Creeping Barrage. 85, 319. Lehman Russ level 2. Mines dropped by Yarrick in a very annoying place. Down goes a Warlock, leaping to his death. That's an autocannon covering this approach here. 85, 319. Meanwhile, top energy shield. How annoying is that? It can be very difficult to push the top of the arena maps because of these stairs. Sometimes it's easier to go through the mid and then flank, but that takes a lot more time, obviously. 85, 307. Down goes the Farseer now. Manticore strike, causing all sorts of problems. I'm surprised they only got 2 of them. I suppose they want that presence directly in the field. 85, 298. Imperial Guard looking pretty good if they can get top back, which is a big if. Warp throw into grenades. The Lord Renault now has the Commissar retinue member, which makes all of his retinue members better in combat and gives him that refractor field. As you've seen, he has forced off the Eldar, while everything apart from the Banshees and the Warlock himself was still running right here. And Seer Council come out of the webway gate. That is painful. Seer Council immediately in your face, and he's forced off top again. Adila holds it. Very good job to do so. Has Providence and Warp Throw and Witchblade of Pernus, which is a very powerful build for the Warlock. 2 D cannons bottom now. Manticore has been spotted by the Falcon, but can he finish it off? Bright Lance getting shots, and it's definitely going down. Down goes the Manticore then, and that is a big, big loss, because they were doing good stuff. Kasrikin trying to get away, and they do so. 85, 274. Wow, D cannon getting a shot all the way from there. D cannons, their projectile travels instantly, so they're actually very good at hitting stuff in motion, and they can often snipe things in retreat when you're not expecting it. Avatar soaking up tons of damage, but needs to be careful. Those plasma guns really doing the business. Look at this. Eldritch Storm takes down the bunker, takes down a bunch of infantry, actually wipes the autocannon and wipes a guardsman squad. I think a really good nuke there. 85, 248 is a double cap for Eldar. Ouch, and a singularity. Gonna be a triple cap. Look at all the bits. Tons of dead models, but none of the squads wiped. Manticore Strike trying to stop the cap, and just about able to do so. They should be able to cap it right after, and Caeltos needs help top really badly.
Support structure complete.
That Weber gate is a pain in the ass. Look at it right in his face, spurting out Eldar units. 85, 212. Yarrick lost a bunch of stuff in that nuke, and now he's going top, it looks like.
200 points remaining.
Is he? Yeah.
Must not lose the day.
Has, as is Caeltos' stuff, has a heavy weapon squad covering this power, but he's taking his guardsmen with him. They're fully upgraded with the 2 squad leaders. Don't have an upgraded weapon yet, since plasma guns aren't really that useful against Eldar unless you're fighting the Avatar, of course. 85, 162, triple cap now for the Eldar team. Can they hold on? They really rode their luck a little bit with those Manticore strikes. Could have been a lot worse, a few of those, but they've managed to survive them, and now they are really in the ascendancy. The Avatar was a really good purchase, I think, from Mathis. It's taken so much damage, led the line really well, and allowed the Dire Avengers to do their thing without a lot of pressure on them. 85-122. Baneblade on the way from Yarrick. I don't think it's a good choice, but we'll see how it does. There are 3 D cannons bottom. Soon to be 4, and they are all going to do a lot of damage to the Baneblade, and they're going to do it from long range. Warp throw into a grenade. Down goes the Warlock on retreat though. Yes, it's a big engagement up here. Manticore strike. Is that? No, it's a Basilisk flare. Forcing off the D cannon. Wraith Guard are still in play. But looks like they are going to be forced off, and red team are going to take their natural back at least. Trying to force melee combat on the Wraith Guard. There we go. 85-60 with the 2-1 still for the Eldar. But look at this. Imperial Guard have their natural, so they are going to get the 2-1 here. This might be absolutely decisive. The choice of Yarrick to come top. Good Manticore strike there. I think it's here, is it? Yes. Where's that Baneblade going? Looks like it's going up through the middle, and then it's going to try and help hold top. See Council ripping stuff to shreds and distort field on them, and there's the retreat. Can they get away though? I don't think they are. That's a hell of a lot of range damage in retreat. Took a bit too long to get out of there and loses them. 85-49, single cap for blue Eldar team. Gonna get the 2-1 I think, and that might be that. There is a Baneblade pushing bottom, but otherwise the Imperial Guard might find it very difficult to push. Double Lehman Russes from Caeltos. There's an Avatar there, and double D cannons covering that VP. That is going to be nasty. D cannons doing huge damage to all targets, so they will really hurt those Lehman Russes. 85-25, 2-1, still ticking down. Baneblade pushing bottom. Can he take it? Basilisk flare maybe to shut down the right lance. Demolisher cannon completely misses its target there. That was weird. That's a singularity. Surprised he didn't just run his Commissar into melee there and use his Stormtroopers to cap. Well, these are Torpid Stormtroopers. 85-17, they have the Assault Kit level 3, those guys, putting out a lot of damage. Top is still split between the naturals. Lord General goes down, is that? Yes. Well, that's weird. His retinue is still alive. The medical sergeant is still alive. That's a bug. That should not happen. The Lord General should die last. Maybe he was repurchasing him just as the Lord General went down. And the Vox operator is also still around. 81-17. So that was very odd. 2-1 cap for the Imperial Guard now, because they have the bottom. Now, is that it? The Baneblade has actually done a pretty good job. There's not a lot of stuff bottom to fight it. Maybe that's why. Farseer has her singing spear now. Meanwhile, top Avatar soaking up a lot of damage, but might go down here if these Lehman Russes decide to chase it back when it eventually does pull away. And here are some Ogrins. Looks like he's just going to lose the Avatar. He's happy to lose it, I think, just to keep the pressure up for that little bit amount of time. There goes a Basilisk creeping barrage. Or top drop. Ouch. Look at the Ethereal Slash. Killed about 12 Imperial Guard models there, I think. Manticore strike. Trying to take out the Falcon, but that shield is so annoying. 43-17. 2-1 cap for the Imperial Guard. Have they won this game with that push at bottom? Or can the Eldar all push top and take back the natural? Looks like they are. Basilisk creeping barrage trying to knock them off it, but Adila is alive to it, uses the fleet and gets away. Good play there, and he's able to continue capping. 35-17, a crazy ending. Players all over the map, top, bottom, mid. This is Torpid's Caeltos' Lord General in retreat there. 35-17. Right lance there covering the VP, as are 2 D cannons. Going to be very difficult to retake this. Very, very difficult. They have the Witchblade of Caeltos Ethereal Slash to knock things off caps. They have double singularities to knock things off caps. It's going to be very difficult. There is a singularity, in fact. And there's the double. And Eldar take it. GG. Was a really good game, really close. 35 VPs is what remains on the Warlock, on the Eldar, I should say, counter. So very, very close. Level 6 and level 5 Warlock have a level 6 Farseer, level 5 Lord General, level 9 Lord General for Torpid, and a level 4 Commissar Lord. There it is, guys. Eldar take the first game. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.